So XRP Las Vegas just started, and it was a very big event for everyone in the XRP community. And we definitely heard from some big people, like Brad Garlinghouse at this event is one example. We need to talk about what he said, because it's something we've heard before. I still believe we should know what's really going on with Ripple and what XRP means for what Ripple is trying to do. Okay, let's talk about that. That's what we'll talk about next, but first let's talk about an event that's planned that is even bigger than XRP Las Vegas. That's the top of 2025. This is the biggest summit the XRP Ledger community gets together every year, and a lot of great things will be talked about at this event. It would be strange if there wasn't a big agreement or announcement at this event like this one did in 2024. We also have Ripple's swell in the fall, so some pretty big things are going to happen soon, and I'm really looking forward to Apex because it's almost time to be here, from June 10th to 12th. I also believe that everyone who owns XRP should write these times down on their calendars. You won't want to miss this because it's going to be one of the biggest events ever. What did they say or talk about in Las Vegas that makes us think of that? Well, we heard from some pretty well-known people, as I said, and what Ripple is trying to do was the main thing we heard. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it has to do with Ripple's push for puzzle repayment. We already know that Ripple is changing how money moves. I have always talked about the Internet of Value on this show because that's what Ripple is also building, the Internet of good things. We're building the Internet of Value, which will change how money moves around the world, has always been their motto. I think that a lot of the latest news about Unicambio, like this one from February, shows that they're still going in the same direction. They're still doing a great job of, getting the Internet value, and XRP is part of this. A lot of people think that Ripple Payments has nothing to do with XRP since it used to be called on-demand liquidity and is now called Ripple Payments. After that, we heard about RLUSD too. This is what you see around Ripple Payments when you go there. In it, steady coins and crypto are talked about, and XRP isn't in the middle like it used to be when you went to on-demand liquidity on their website. Quite a few people think that XRP has been replaced, but that's not true. Okay, I want you all to understand how important XRP and XRPL are to Ripple's cross-border payment system. It's not being changed, it's not dead or anything, but I do think we should talk about some of these partnerships because this is a big one and it shows how Ripple is still focusing on cross-border payments 4 years later. This issue is still being talked about because it is a major issue in the world's banking system. Cross-border payments are very expensive right now, and they have a lot of other problems as well. Things like not being clear, funds not going through, high costs, and slow finality speeds are some examples. That's why, when we think about that, we look at these relationships. Today I'm bringing this one up again because Ripple recently put out a customer feature on their X account that was all about Unicambio. One of the oldest and biggest foreign exchange companies in Portugal is moving to accept Ripple payments all over the world. We now have a full case study in this, right? With Ripple payments, Unicambio is reaching out to new users around the world and growing its business. Our goal is to get new customers and make it easier for businesses in Europe and Brazil to pay each other internationally. That's interesting. It makes a lot of sense for this to happen after the recent push from Ripple XDev. In case you missed it, 2 stable coins are starting on the XRP ledger, the BBRL and the BUSD. When we think about this and the fact that a stable coin for the euro is going to be released on the XRP ledger at the same time, we can see how the XRP ledger could be used to corner Europe and Brazil. Because of this, I have said that XRP and the XRPL will not be replaced. It's even getting stronger as a use case for XRP, and here they are talking about Ripple payments and how to use the power of crypto to make deals clear. Payments happen almost instantly and market access all the time. Here are some numbers that show this. So Unicambio was created in 1992. It now has more than 280,000 customers around the world, handles more than 3,000 deals every day, and supports more than 50 currencies. Ripple is scalable, has a big presence in the business, and knows how to send money between countries. For Unicambio to feel confident enough to grow its business, it needs to work with a team that has the same goals as it does, and is just as interested in the project as it is. This way we can give our customers the best value. Of course, they're also opening up important payment routes. We already know that 90% of the FX market is wired to Ripple. I love seeing this. This is really amazing. Now this, I was talking about Las Vegas because Brad Garlinghouse told us something. All right, let's start with this one. A big thank you to Johnny Encryption 00. We need to see Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of TV Ripple, says we all need to work together to make the business bigger. BTC is no longer the bad guy. Why does Brad Garlinghouse talk about Bitcoin in this way? BTC isn't really bad though. BTC was never the bad guy. Max Bitcoins were always the bad guys. I responded to this and said that's because Bitcoin was never a threat to the XRP system. You know there is nothing to worry about if you use the network that Bitcoin and XRP are based on. This is because Bitcoin isn't as efficient as, say, XRP or HBAR, which keeps it from being the most popular network. But watch this movie. There are about 59 seconds of it. And this is Brad Garlinghouse talking about it. And the fighting among ourselves, it really does make us all look stupid. Like, yeah, you did a good vlog. It's like, you know what? But I also have to say that I love the XRP family. I love it so much. But I will also say that some people, even those in the XRP family, say, look, the Bitcoin community is not our enemy. They're not really. We will do well if they do well. We could do better. There is no winner in this game. There is more than one way to win in tech. That's the one thing I learned after living in Silicon Valley for 24 years. The pie is going to get bigger. Yesterday, David Schwartz was here to talk about rewiring the whole banking system and what this might look like in 10 or 20 years. There are billions more people who can be reached by working together instead of against each other. We don't realize how big and important that change is. Now, he is completely right? I really believe that this business world would be much better if we all started to work together. We shouldn't always say things like this one is better than that one, this community stinks because of this, or XRP is a joke. It seems like there has been a lot of fighting over the years. What does it lead to anyway? Not a single thing. It doesn't make sense. Yes, I do believe that he is completely right here. Let's talk about the big problem that nobody wants to talk about. Brad Garlinghouse did say that we'll surprise everyone with how big of a hole we can make in the universe. Okay, this quote is not new when we think about what's going on. Brad Garlinghouse and the rest of the Ripple team have always wanted to make a difference, and not just in the world. They want to make a difference in the way people pay for things. Ripple is changing the way the banking system works from top to bottom. Blockchain is being used by Ripple. It's the XRP system in this case. What they're doing and what they're achieving will be truly historic. They are changing how all foreign currencies like dollars, euros, pounds, and Brazilian reals move around the world. They are changing the way the banking system works in a big way. This is an old quote, as I already said. To show this, let's go back to January 2024. Also, this video is not from 2024. It's a little older than that, but we need to keep an eye on what Google is to search engines. Ripple is the love stories. Our goal is to make a difference in the world. All of this is based on cross-border returns, which are $156.0 trillion market. We also know that number will likely rise to more than $200 trillion in the next 2 years. But look at this. What do you think? What do you think Ripple should do next? What do you think? This is where I put you on the spot. No, it's really easy. I think the most important thing to take away from this room is that Ripple is not like other companies. We are not here to make a small share of the market, do X, do Y, and make a small amount of money or make something happen. Our job is to make a difference in the world. That is, either we will change the way you think about remittances and how value is sent around the world between people and organizations, or we will go away. That means it's almost 0 or 1. Some of it comes from being cocky in Silicon Valley.